Another year, another SummerSlam in the books. Granted, this year was a little different, split across 2 nights in front of a stadium crowd. Elsewhere, tournament season continued to dominate the Japanese scene, while GCW brought Bloodsport back to New Jersey. With that in mind, I've once again rounded up LNG's finest to discuss the weekend's best. With a thinner lineup than its Sunday sequel, SummerSlam Saturday show landed pretty safely, mostly meeting or exceeding expectations. As anticipated, CM Punk and Gunther led the way, turning in the magnificent main event that the mostly steady undercard required. That undercard wasn't without its own highlights, starting strong in particular. It was Punk and Gunther's night though, even with the cash-in that followed. Right fellas, just moments removed from the SummerSlam, night 1. An interesting show, a show that definitely put the ball in the main eventers' hands, right? Kind of let them decide how it would be remembered. And in that case, I don't think you could ask for much more from Gunther and CM Punk. Put in half an hour, went the distance, physical, grueling match, and maybe, just maybe, a modern classic, Oracle. What did you make about main event of SummerSlam Night 1?
Oh, yeah, this was great. This very well may be the WWE match of the year so far in 2025. Very physical. There was a grittiness to it, right? Not everything looked like beautiful or perfect, but there was a grit to it. The chops, the Punk's desperation at times. Just, really as the match went on, like the ass beating that Punk took was incredible. To the point where it felt like at times he almost wasn't selling. He was just getting his ass beat for real,
Yeah.
Just some awesome wrestling here. Gunther was amazing in control. Showed a lot of confidence. I love the spot where he does a sharpshooter and then flex the muscle. That was great. The build to the finish, of course. They go to the floor. The problem is with WWE, you don't know things or not, but like I do wonder if that was kind of a lore thing, because remember when Drew McIntyre won the belt, Punk tripped him up on the announce table? I wonder if that was a callback to that. I actually kind of thought about that when we were watching it. Gunther bleeds, right, which I don't think any of us expected, and that was amazing.
And that was great fear. Great fear.
Great blade job, great visual. Just the reaction, the crowd, the comment. I mean, everything just kind of became more visceral and much more exciting, even from that point. Already from just a terrific match. But Gunther was incredible in this. We could talk about how great Punk was selling and his desperation, but Gunther this was his best performance in
long time.
Honestly, probably probably like 2 or 3 years. I mean, he was incredible here. Just a really, really terrific match. And again, probably was the WWE match of the year this year so far.
I really love that kind of, that chink in the armor with Gunther, this sense that he's brilliant, he's a supreme pro wrestler, but there is just a slight bit of doubt in that guy. And I love that he's willing to do that and willing to play with that. And his reaction to the blood, almost like Drago being stunned that he's bleeding in Rocky IV, in fear of being stereotypical. But great theater, Buster. This was a hell of a wrestling match.
Yeah, I was very animated during this because like everything they did was just exactly what I wanted them to do. Like he looked like he was just in fucking agony, and he probably was like getting his ass beat. But it added so much to the match and like the feel of the match. And I think my most like out there reaction was when Gunny started bleeding, and then he's backed into the corner and he's got his hands up and he's cowering. Like that was just like brilliant. Fantastic. It was brilliant. But overall the match was just like I think it was my first Punk match where I came away from it just ecstatic about everything since it's been a long time. It's been a very long time. It was a triumphant feeling as a Punk fan.
Most
very,
certainly.
Those power bombs by Gunther too. My God.
Yeah, man.
Good Lord.
He's in fear of sort of doing the classic it was different to the current norm and it had a different vibe. But it was nice to see fellas really wearing the match the way they were wearing it. You know,
Yeah.
and we talk selling often. We'll talk about a body part. They sold the nature of the match. They felt like they were exhausted. They probably
Yeah.
were, and it was refreshing that way. It felt like round 12 by the end. You know, it felt like they'd been through an absolute war. Superb match.
Oh, one more thing though. Like,
yes, sure.
To add on to that, the finish where Gunther selling on the GTS is just fantastic. Like, gets hit with it, and he's like, I really thought he was going to go down. I thought it would only take one. And it nowadays, with finishes like that, there's a lot of wrestlers are very liberal with their finishing moves, where they throw them out there as much as they want. And Punk is guilty of that, certainly. But in this instance, it was like it took two. And that makes sense because of how the match was structured, where Punk had to do like everything to overcome this guy. He was a fucking machine in there.
It was when he started bleeding, it was like he'd finally pushed the ball to the top of the mountain and it was starting to roll downhill.
Yes. Yeah.
And that GTS where he doesn't go down, it was like it just stopped for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then and the relief that came with it. And the people, and look, it certainly will not be for everyone in its pace, right? It was certainly a different pace, a more old school pace.
Yep.
It was very much a match that, you generally will not see on a show of like this, especially where things are so tightly produced. It felt like they were just playing at times in terms of on the mat and feeling things out. And they did put a lot of time in, but I think you can't argue with the people's reaction down the stretch there. They really got with it, and I think they absolutely were immersed. Thrilling stuff. The post-match will no doubt be debated in the coming weeks and months. We'll see how that plays out, but a great match to close a SummerSlam we enjoyed. I think it's fair to say in terms of outright great matches, that was kind of a lone soldier. But there was other good stuff on the show. Buster, what was your second favorite match of the night?
It's a toss-up between the two opening tags, but I lean toward the Brons versus fucking Roman and the Yeet Man.
The Yeet Man, indeed.
Yeah, it had a... we were talking about it on the show, but it had an air, because of the dives and the general Steinerness of Braun Breaker, it had a level of, like chaos to it, and like, what the fuck are they going to do next kind of thing that I really ended up enjoying. A lot more than I thought I would, to be totally honest.
Certainly. It was an interesting watch, and it kind of ended up being in between the two matches. We wondered, we thought there might be a chance to have a shootout.
Yeah.
And we thought there might be a chance to do a bloodline tag that, goes long and is heavy on heat. It was the latter, but there was also, because of those moments you mentioned, there was room for like outright physicality and, some bombs along the way. And I think that's where the match really shined. Roman Reigns does amaze me, and like, for how little he works, I find it impressive how he's able to just kind of just switch it on and off. I really think
he's I actually think that in our circle, it is understated how actually good of a wrestler that he is.
Yes.
Because he is like one of the best big match wrestlers of all time. And I don't even think it's like debate, to be frank.
It's really easy for him, I feel, too, physically.
Yeah. And it, given he's very much a veteran at this point, but it's still astounding given his schedule.
And look, he has his quirks, right? His theatrics are not for everyone. I think even we all have moments where we go, oh, God. But he does generally have a fabulous feel for pro wrestling. Oracle, what did you make of the opener, mate?
I like this a lot. I thought this was a really fun match. Might have been a tad bit too long for me if I were to throw anything negative onto it. But there was that, as Buster said, that unpredictability, right? With the dives. I mean, Roman's dive was like insane, like flew, over rotate. I mean, he's been doing that thing for years, and he's 39, 40 years old, and that dude fucking flew, and still looks incredible. Looks incredible. But Bronson Reed's Tope Suicida, which was insane. The 1D that Bronson Reed took was nasty. Of course,
Bronson
we
Reed
got
took
Bulldog.
some great bumps.
We got the crazy flying shoulder tackle by Bron, where he's just his whole body just collapsed under Roman's face.
Yeah.
At ringside. This was. Of course, you had the bloodline lore with Roman taking the hit on the spear, which was good stuff. This was very entertaining. Again, like it wasn't breathtaking or insanely great or anything like that, but it was a very satisfying, very fun match.
Yeah.
I liked it a good bit.
And a good opener.
Yeah.
Oracle, when we were watching this together, you seemed to be leaning towards the second of the opening tags for your second favorite match of the night. Fair to say?
Yeah. I think so. If anything, I think the card placement was a little bit weird for it because it took a while for the crowd to get into it. I prefer the more traditional structure of face shines, and we didn't really get that here. It went straight to heat on Charlotte. But the match, as time went on, really started to click, and they got the crowd really into it. Great hot stretch run, especially after the Charlotte hot tag. But Roxy and Raquel work really good as a unit. We mentioned that on the show. I think they have better chemistry together than Liv and Raquel did, and we talked about how Liv was Liv's kind of a more premier single star. She's become such a big star in the last year or two. They feel on the same level, and so their chemistry works so much. But I thought Roxanne was great in this match. Charlotte once again looked good here. Even some of her high spots, which can look really clunky and not hit well, they hit very well. The high cross body and the double moonsault looked great. Alexa Bliss she's never had good offense, right? But her ability to connect with a crowd is very strong. She's very good at babyface. I really liked her struggle, like when Roxy would put her in holds and Lexi would like throw really pointy elbows, and this was a lot of fun. The close call, right? Where they get the near fall and Lexi makes the save with the rolling blockbuster. You could just see her getting, as as Will mentioned, her getting just like super into the match, because that had such a big pop, that save, and of course Charlotte ends up their friendship is confirmed, I guess, at the end of the match where they win the tag belts. But this was also a ton of fun. I think I did prefer this a little bit more than the opener, but this was a really good 1-2 punch to open the show.
It was, and they had a tough assignment. Following the opener, which was heavy on heat to begin with, a match that had double heat, was not the most inspired production choice, to be honest. And I think the match would have got over better without that. But they still got the thing over, Bust. There was a lot to like here.
Yeah, I came away from it like less a commentary on the match, more on Charlotte and Alexa. I was honestly a little bit floored by how great they still are, to be totally honest. It's been a while since I've sat down to watch one of their matches. I mean, like a while, like 2020 maybe. Like it's been a while. So I was kind of taken aback by how much I ended up enjoying specifically their work in this match. I find it all pretty endearing, to be honest, where they work a crazy pace for their age to be and I say for their age, not that old, but a lot of the men a lot of the men at their age aren't working the way that they're working. It was a lot of fun to watch them working out their chemistry and stuff. And Oracle said it. Charlotte, her spots, they have a way of looking clunky at times, just from what I've seen. She was on one tonight.
She was
her moonsault on both Raquel and Roxy landed perfectly. So yeah, it was a very good match, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you caught yourself, because I think we all do, right? It's it feels like Charlotte and Alexa have been around forever.
Yeah,
it feels that way.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to be careful about that, because in Charlotte's article she talked about she doesn't want their age to be such a topic, and I mean it in a negative way. Just the fact that they've been around for so long, or it feels that way at least.
Yeah,
and they're still working as hard and as well as they are.
That's the really key word there. Working as hard, the motivation you feel. and that's been a real. I mean, Charlotte has always worked super hard. She sometimes has had dips, like as a TV worker, but on big shows she always brings it.
Yeah,
it's been cool. Like since Alexa came back, you can tell she's in a different mode than she was before she left. Like you could tell she was not super into some of the stuff she did in 2022.
Yeah,
as much as we love that theme song, but here she's super locked in. And one thing that's cool about them as a team that kind of stood out tonight, I thought. For a team of 2 performance center products, they are very instinctual pro wrestlers. They work to the house. They actually really want to feel it, which I think is not necessarily what you associate with that kind of system. But they both do. They work to the people. And that moment Oracle mentioned where Alexa got into it, I think she was happy they hooked them. Yeah. And it was easy from there. Good stuff. Great to see that act getting over. I want to quickly acknowledge too, Jade and Tiffany Stratton, who, let's be honest, given no tools whatsoever in the build, there wasn't really a build, in fact. But they had the right match in the sense that they packed it full of action, had a bomb fest. It didn't get over huge, but it was, I thought, relative to expectations, Oracle, I thought it over-delivered and was a bit of a triumph. Again, relative to those expectations.
Yeah. It definitely did. We talked about it on our LNG SummerSlam preview about how they should probably work a 10-minute sprint and just do stuff. And that's exactly what they did. They're both very limited in terms of putting a match together and like leading a match, I think. But they're both very athletic, freakishly athletic, and both have really good offense, particularly Tiffany. And they just threw bombs here. And it was the right move. I think they executed everything pretty well. I think it was aged very well, timed out very well. I was a little bit surprised that Tiffany retained, but that might be the right move. Hopefully, there's some interesting matchups, maybe with a returning Bianca here in the near future with Bianca and Tiffany and stuff. So. But yeah, this was a satisfying match just from the standpoint that they did what I think a lot of us felt that they should have done, and both ladies delivered very strongly with their strengths, right? And ended up being a very very watchable, very very entertaining match.
Buster, you tend to agree, mate?
Yeah, I don't have a whole bunch to say, to be totally frank. Mainly what Oracle was saying of. They seem like 2 very limited wrestlers, so putting them in the position of, in this position, a world title match on one of the biggest shows of the year, even if it is just night one, still SummerSlam.
Yeah,
it was an interesting choice going into it. I thought my immediate reaction was, "Holy fuck, how is this going to look?" And it looked about, what it should have looked like at least. Very quick. They just kind of did some cool moves every once in a while, and then went home. Good.
Yeah, I think the challenge for both parties is going to be more big picture, the way to present them. Tiffany is super over. I feel like Jade has lost a little bit of that initial shine she had. Yeah. And that's a really tough thing to navigate in that you want to let her have real matches to get better, but the more real matches she has, the less special she feels. It's a really hard and there's not an easy fix to that. I think I do think she's getting better. The question is, can she get better at the rate that's going to get her to be the world's champion, right? I mean, that's the question. So we shall see. But a fun night one for SummerSlam, a great main event match, an enjoyable show, with certainly some bumps in the road, but a good time nonetheless. And we shall see. Could be a very different vibe when we record for night 2. So we'll see how that turns out. Prior to Brock Lesnar's baffling return, SummerSlam Sunday was an uneven show that took some violent swings in quality. The highlights served as bookends, from an exciting start to a memorable main event match. There are many stories within those matches, though they ultimately found themselves lost in Lesnar's return, which caused a great deal of distaste and frustration. Unfortunately, the move is many things, but surprising isn't one of them. Nonetheless, Lesnar's presence brought a cloud along with it, one that should follow his return until any semblance of an answer is provided. This show is about highlighting the weekend's best work, and Oracle and I proceeded with those plans. But it felt wrong to ignore Lesnar's return, particularly with how alarmingly in line it felt with the promotion's public temperament as of late. Well, Oracle, after I think polarizing would be generous in terms of the WrestleMania main event between Cody and Cena, you could tell there was a motivation to redeem themselves, right? You could feel that. They put in a lot of time. They had a lot of ideas. It was big. It was loud. It maybe was even stupid on occasion, but I couldn't help but be charmed by the just sheer effort of the thing. What did you make of our main event here of night 2?
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I was entertained by it. I think my biggest gripe would be just the sort of excess of it.
Yeah.
But they absolutely went all out. They of course did like the cinema and the theatrics,
Yeah.
like the thing with the Cody entrance, with stuff like that. But there were some really gnarly bumps in this. I mean, John Cena's out here taking Cody cutters through tables, and he's over here launching Cody Rhodes 12 feet off of AAs, and we're just getting all kinds of crazy stuff. Cena hits his big leg drop, which was insane. I mean, he's 48 years old. I mean, he's got Peacemaker checks to cash, and he's out here, there was a spot where he gets thrown over the timekeepers area when they went to brawl into the crowd. That was pretty crazy. It wasn't like just the way that he tumbled was like nasty. Yeah. Just a really physical match. Just in terms of the stuff that they did. Obviously, like very much a WWE centric sports entertainment mix in there as well. Lots of insane, probably even absurd kickouts, right? With the Super AA. With the Super Cody cutter. I mean,
right.
Endless stuff. The finish was, I mean, that
was the most Cody Rhodes moment ever, wasn't it?
The finish was just spectacular in many ways. I don't know if they were all positive, but they definitely got a laugh out of us during the grin along. But this was a fun match. There was a lot to like. There was a lot to laugh at, positive and negative. But the effort, I do agree, the effort was certainly there. It was certainly. I will say this: John Cena looked to be having the time of his life during this.
Yes,
I think he had a lot of fun. I think he listened to the criticism of this run, and I think he was happy to kind of be relieved of the chains of the heel run. And of course, they teased a couple of things earlier, like the hug earlier at the start and all that stuff. But I feel like there was a relief from him.
I agree.
That he didn't feel constrained.
A freedom, yeah.
Yeah, definitely freedom. An enjoyable and memorable main event for sure.
Certainly, and it's one of those strange cases where if you made a list of the things the match featured, I'd probably go, that sounds like something I'd hate. But I can't pretend I did. I did really enjoy it for the reasons you mapped out, and I agree it had its issues. The biggest thing that you mentioned there that for me made it a hit, spiritually, there was a real magic to seeing Cena have that much fun and really swing for the fences. I was in Vegas for their first match, and I thought you could see the outline, you could see the makings of a good match, and it got lost to Fiend and things of that nature. Here, they went well beyond, those elements, and after 101 kickouts, they settled on a finish that we'll definitely remember. I had a great time with it. Well, so this very much, you get yourself some popcorn, and you'll probably have a hell of a time. Good for John Cena. I don't know how many, to be honest, I don't know how many efforts he has like this ahead of him. He may not have one, to be completely frank.
Yeah.
But he is one of the greats. This has not been an electrifying retirement run thus far. I'm really glad he had that moment in front of a stadium crowd. To be John Cena again, even if just one night only. The show opened in strong fashion also. Naomi, Io, Rhea. This is becoming a familiar story. You and I are talking about Io and Rhea doing, making magic out there in a major show. Naomi is the foil, kind of a hurdle for them to get over. I thought they did a nice job of actually kind of embracing that and framing it that way. I liked the opener. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good match. Naomi had a lot of, really had a dominant 7 or 8 minutes to open the match. They did get a little bit cute early, I think. Part of that was, when you do try to do too many set pieces and get too cute,
Yeah.
it can get clunky. I thought, sometimes Naomi's not as quick as quick on those sequences. Although I thought she worked really stiff, which I appreciated. I think
I
her
agree.
strikes and knees looked actually really good in this match. Once Rhea and Io had their standoff and had their exchanges, and then Io really got her offense going, the match really picked up. Io, I remember you mentioned it during the Grinalong. She just is spectacular to watch, just in terms of her fluidity and her rhythm on offense. One of the most exciting to watch. Rhea's charisma is incredible. I've praised Rhea's physicality and some of her nutty kind of stunt bumps and stuff like that, but her biggest strength is her charisma, I think, in the ring, and just the way she carries herself. Just a really fun match in the end. Just as we had predicted in the SummerSlam preview and on the Fed 4 show. Rhea, has Io pinned again here, and then Naomi steals the pin. I would love to see, and we've mentioned it a few times the last couple months, I would love to see a Rhea and Io final showdown in Perth. I really hope that's the direction they go.
Me too. I would also appreciate along the way maybe some Io and Rhea versus Charlotte and Alexa on TV,
Yeah,
maybe. That would be a really nice attraction for a television, or maybe even Paris, something to that effect. But I agree with you, Perth is the place for Rhea to beat Io. That match was followed by, I mean, you didn't have to be a genius to figure out that 12 men, three of those teams have valets, there's moving pieces, there's Uncle Howdy, there's Eric Rowan, there's ladders, tables, chairs, Bubba Dudley's there, Devon Dudley's there, the Hardys there. You knew it was going to be carnage, it was going to be chaos. I think it's fair to say they delivered on that front. This was a wild car crash, Oracle, wasn't it?
This was nuts. Some of the sort of, just like they did like the big spots back to back to back, and that's what you sort of expect and see. There's not a lot of threads anymore in these matches, which would be my biggest criticism. They don't really book a lot of thread. They don't really thread the matches, these ladder matches, much anymore. Occasionally they might, and those are usually the more probably overall better ones in some ways. But in terms of insanity, this was very entertaining. We had a great time on the Grinalong. The ones that stood out to me, Dexter Loomis is just clump jump senton splash through the table. I think I was on Tez. Angelo Dawkins taking a insane Spanish fly where they over rotated. Axiom and Doc over rotated. Well, they didn't over rotate, but they went too far.
Yeah.
Her legs smashed against the barricade as they went to the table. Candice LeRae takes the bump of the night, where she goes knee first through a ladder, off of a ladder. And credit DIY, Ciampa and Johnny went flying through. They did the
they're really good in the match.
Bubba and Matt Hardy spot from years gone by, and crashed through the 4 tables, and in classic fashion missed the front bottom one, which they tend to always do.
It's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Yeah. The front, the bottom, that one right in front of the bottom never breaks because they always go too far. But yeah, this was just, and I'm just thinking like the spot where Ciampa has to keep himself balanced upside down while hanging.
I'd never seen that before.
Insane.
Yeah.
And they're doing sequences and rope running sequences underneath.
Yeah.
I mean, just a wild match. I mean, Uncle Howdy takes a senton splash from Andrade or fucking sunset flip rather, onto a ladder, and honestly, Joe Gacy was very good in this match.
He wasn't going to let SummerSlam pass him by, brother.
No. I mean, there's so many things to say about the nuttiness of this one. It was very, very fun.
It was a very different tone from the final match we're going to discuss. One that I sense we're much higher on than the online consensus AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, two of my favorites, and I know we both love Dom and the wrestler he's become. I just thought their match was so refreshing on this show. Just some pro wrestling. And there was some real nice kind of shtick in there. The action was good. AJ's work was really sharp. Dom has come a long way on that front. So I had a great time with this, Oracle. What about you?
I thought this match was excellent. I thought it was, to be honest, I think it might have been the match of the night. I think in terms of like memorable moments, I think the TLC could easily be picked. But like this match was just tremendous. This is like the type of pro wrestling that I love. It was very old school in a lot of ways. You could maybe say they leaned into the Eddie stick really hard, but with Dom and his history, I think it fit pretty well, and the crowd responded tremendously. And I mentioned it during the Grinalong, but the transitions these two have. I mean, AJ's always been great at structure, what you pointed out during the show, but the transitions are great. Like they just timed everything well, and the Eddie tribute spots were great. The double down with the chair was great and legitimately funny, and like got the crowd going, and like Dom with the win, call back to WrestleMania 20. I mean, this was a fantastic match, and I think was pretty clearly the match of the night for me. Like 3.5 range, you know. It was really, really good. I
think people are going to think we're insane for that, but we're on the same page. It was the match I enjoyed the most. It was a wrestling match, and I appreciate it. And that's not to disparage the rest, because we just had a great time talking about the ladder match, especially. But I think there's a real charm to a match that's 10 minutes on an undercard, and I think you and I missed those matches, and Dominic Mysterio is bringing them back to us.
Yes.
So, more wonderful stuff. I hope we get a TV rematch to get a little more space, though. A little more time.
Same.
Yeah. I think with a TV main event, 15 minutes or so, I think these guys could actually rock the house. But we shall see about that, Oracle. Thank you very much, mate. A unique SummerSlam. Certainly a mixed bag. Some different conversations coming out of it, but some good wrestling on there. No question. Thank you, Oracle.
Yes, sir.
It's a special time of year for Joshi fans, with both Marigold and Stardom's Grand Prix tournaments now underway. That included 6 shows over the weekend, including a double shot to kick off Marigold's Dreamstar slate. LNG's resident Joshi expert, Six Star, is as locked in as ever, picking out a match from each promotion. Well, Six, I know you're entrenched. And this is a special time of the year, Joshi season, tournament season, right? Especially Joshi season this weekend, picking up considerably. And you're going to be watching these things front to back. As you know, I will not be, but thankfully, with your guidance, you picked out a couple matches for me to take a look at here. So tell the people the matches you picked out from this past weekend, Six.
Of course, from the opening night of Marigold's Dreamstar GP, I've picked Mayu Iwatani versus Sari Yamaoka. And from day 5, the afternoon show of Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix, I have chosen the Sun God Sari versus Hina. Now, on the Marigold side of things, Mayu Iwatani versus Sari Yamaoka is a really big match. Mayu Iwatani is the icon of Joshi professional wrestling, someone who has defined multiple eras of Joshi, starting from her debut at Stardom to her most recent shocking, not really shocking, debut for Marigold. Going into this night, she has been undefeated in Marigold singles and tag competition. She is someone who is unstoppable, someone who has said to the people from the rookies to the top of the division that she is here to shake things up, that she is here to make Marigold must-see, must-watch, and to make sure that nobody is making the same mistakes that she sees go constantly viral. And who's facing her? No one else but the golden rookie herself, Sari Yamaoka, the woman chosen by Nanae Takahashi herself to lead Passion into the future, lead Joshi into the future, wanting to stop that undefeated streak, wanting to prove herself and go in with a fury. And on the 5-star GP side of things, we have Sari versus Hina. Sari as the big, bad boss outsider, the top heel of Stardom right now in terms of sheer crowd reactions, going in to the hometown of Hina herself on day 5, the afternoon show for the Blue Stars block. They are in Utsunomiya, And the main event of the afternoon show, Hina going in, future of Stardom champion, sister of Rina, younger sister of Hanan, a wrestling family. And together they use their willpower instilled into Hina to stop Sareee, the woman who has claimed time and again that she is here to bring Stardom to the next level because she views the philosophy of Stardom Pro Wrestling as the antithesis to what she views professional wrestling as. And she wants to instill her own vision of wrestling, her own views, her own understandings of what the medium can and should look like into the industry leader and redefine what wrestling looks like for everybody involved.
Wonderful. And, you know, those dynamics you mapped out there, they are evident in both matches. I think it's fair to say. I'm intrigued. Which of those two matches was your favorite? And talk us through that favorite. Go for it, Six.
I'm going to be honest with you here. My favorite match goes from the main event of the opening night of the Marigold Dreamstar GP, and that is Mayu Iwatani versus Sari Yamaoka. This match starts off exactly how anyone familiar with the Sari match would expect it to, and that is with Sari immediately taking Mayu to the mat. We're talking about the golden rookie here, not just looking to get the big win over Mayu Iwatani. She understands the importance in beating Mayu in singles competition, but she also understands the importance of the Dreamstar GP and her own lineage and her own career. She wants to become the youngest winner of this GP. She sees Mayu as just another opponent to get her there. And let me tell you this now, Mayu does not let up. Mayu said last year, if she did not win the 5-star, it would be her last 5-star. And here she is, now in the Dreamstar, one of the most consistent tournament wrestlers in the world, coming in and having a great main event match. This is one of a pair of main events for the opening day of shows in which a top-of-the-line rookie, super rookie as they've been labeled by the promotion, faces off with one of the promotion's, nay, one of Joshi's most important, decorated veterans today. In the day show, we had Victoria Yuzuki versus Utami, which went to a shocking upset victory of Victoria Yuzuki. And much like that, in the main event of the night show, Sari Yamaoka does the impossible after hitting multiple suplexes, after getting dogged on by Mayu Iwatani throughout the match. Sari would start getting her feet back under her, and boom, super kick. She would go in to grab a suplex, go to the ropes, and boom, super kick, boom, super kick. And Mayu Iwatani was disrupting Sari at every single turn, but yet she still persevered. And after 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 strong suplexes in the center of the ring, she gets her in her signature Aoki clutch technical pin. And 1, 2, 3, the icon takes her first loss in singles competition in Marigold. The main event of the night show of the Dreamstar GP, Sari walks out victorious.
It was really interesting as someone who's not as well versed in Mayu Iwatani. It's very interesting to see such, a different role than I'm used to. I've seen matches from her, but I've seen her more fighting from underneath, more being defiant, more being gutsy. Here she was the mountaintop to climb, right? As you said, she was the legend. And her as the status quo, I thought, was just magnificent. And she was really, in her own way, I mean, we talk about Saree's mean streak, but she was pretty damn spiteful here herself in control, right? So a different dynamic. I really enjoyed this. Is it fair to say that this Marigold match almost more is a really good match, but it's also more of a statement, right? As you kind of mapped out there, this is about where the promotion's trending and a real vote of confidence for the aforementioned golden rookie, I believe was the term you used, correct?
Yeah. So this is not something I was necessarily expecting going into it. This is a play card done by the head booker. He did the same thing with Utami and in her first 5-star, having her absolutely clear house, but still seeing Mayu Iwatani, someone who is lauded as not just the best wrestler in a single promotion, not just the best wrestler in a single scene, the greatest wrestler of all time by many people who've watched a lot more Joshi than I have, and myself included. I put her up there as well. Seeing Sari get that win, to your point, is a very big thumbs up for her. But that pair of shows where the 2 star rookies of the promotion, Yuzuki and Sari, get those wins over those big stars, 2 current champions, 2 former multiple-time world champions, there couldn't be a bigger statement being made that they are not the future, that they are the now, that going forward, they are the people to watch. They are the ones who are going to take the horse by the reins and lead this promotion to their promised lands.
Indeed, and speaking of Joshi greats, we turn our attention to Sari, who has been really, I would say, for a casual Joshi viewer like myself who's on the outside looking in, it's fair to say, I think she's been the signature name of the scene over this last, 18 months, it's been maybe 2 years. She was just vicious in our second match to discuss here, operating almost like a big Van Vader almost, right? Just destructive as this bully heel. What did you make of that one, Six?
I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I had this match circled as one of those matches. Like it's not going to be a standout match for anyone else except for me. It's not going to be a standout match for anyone else except for those who are kind of in the know about Hina. Hina being the twin sister of Rina, both being the younger sisters of Hanan. That is a legacy in wrestling there, just within this generation of sisters. Hina has been often lauded as the one who is the least impressive of the three, but over this last few months, over this last year, especially since she took on the Future of Stardom Championship, she has been having a breakout run. She's been doing absolutely great, hitting big moves, hitting nasty, nasty slugs and forearms. And I don't think there could have been a better opponent to get the most out of her than Sari. As I said earlier, Sari is the big bad boss of Stardom right now. Yes, Saya Kamatani is their top star and their top heel in regards to being the top of the company. But if you think sheer crowd reaction, there's no one getting more heel heat in that company than Sari is. And what a better match up for her than to get the most out of those reactions than Hina in their hometown. A big, big match for Hina, a big, big opportunity, and she knocked it out of the park. And along with knocking out of the park, those women were slugging each other, and Sari was just dog walking her the whole time. And then she gets her big moves in, she gets her signature forearm strikes, her signature slams, only to be taken out by a double, not a single, but a double stomp combination. Teased the Uranage, but Sari did not need that tonight in order to pin Hina clean, center of the ring, 1, 2, 3.
I was not surprised by the greatness of heel Sari, but as a first-time viewer of Hina, the babyface performance was magnificent. Absolutely gutsy, and it was a physical affair throughout, before the first bell, in fact, right? They kind of brawled there even before the first bell to set the tone. Two really, really fun matches. Any other just quick hit highlights, Six, that you'd recommend for people from this weekend that just went here?
Yes, absolutely. So from Marigold Dreamstar, as I said earlier, the Utami Hayashishita and Victoria Yuzuki match is an absolutely great one to watch from the afternoon show main event. But another really great match from that same day of shows, My Sakurai versus Chan Yoda, two women who are all the familiar each other, tagging in Stardom, facing each other up in Marigold for the white belt, and now having a great rematch in the Dreamstar GP. Also, from the 5-star GP, I suggest what I think is the biggest standout match that people have been talking about for this weekend in terms of the 5-star is Hanan versus May Sarah. Absolutely brilliant match. I thought it was great action on the Red Stars block side of things. And I think so far these two tournaments have been really finding themselves, and I hope y'all will listen to more of my recommendations.
I hope so too. Thank you, Six. This was wonderful. Appreciate you. The Bloodsport brand's latest chapter continued on Saturday, embracing SummerSlam weekend with another lineup built around WWE cameos. Among a group of otherwise main roster talent though, Charlie Dempsey again jumped off the page, adding another hit to his increasingly impressive Bloodsport catalog. Well, Novi, on a Bloodsport show that admittedly he flew a little under the radar.
A little bit, yeah.
My favorite match was one that I hope does get some recognition as kind of the smoke clears. Charlie Dempsey has been really good on these shows, and that continued on Saturday with a slugfest. Obviously, Dominic Greeny. I know you're a big fan, very familiar with Greeny, right, from the DPW shows you've attended.
Yes,
what did you
sir.
make of this Bloodsport venture?
Yeah, this was pretty easily my favorite match on the show too. I mean, I've been a fan of Charlie Dempsey in the Bloodsport arena since he started coming over from NXT. I think he's just a really unique grappler. I don't think he fits NXT entirely. So like seeing him outside of that zone is always very fun. And he's quite over in Bloodsport. The people really respect him, and I think that's been built up over the past little bit. It's not his first show over here against Dom Guarini, but it's a lot of leg work, a lot of mat work. I think Dom's really good at that. He doesn't always get to show it because Violence is Forever is definitely a ground and pound. They're going to brawl with you kind of team. But he got to show a lot of that. I think there's a sequence in the middle of the match where it was was a beautiful cravat into a calf crusher. It was like a little bit of a counter. That was very beautiful. And like as it goes on, things start getting more and more feisty. Like they're kind of eyeing each other a lot to start the match. So, there's a little bit of hatred there. I don't know. It's just feisty. I think is a perfect word for it. And they start throwing forearms, start throwing slaps. It gets pretty intense as it goes on. But Dom gets cleaned up with a Kimura. Fancy one, should be said too. A little behind the neck with the Kimura with the leg. It was a very nice little closing. So like for something being just 5 minutes and 40 seconds, I think it was, it's a pretty nice little match. It's a breezy watch, no doubt.
For sure. I think there's something to be said for that runtime allows you to kind of color inside the lines with Bloodsport. I think the more time you have to fill, and don't get me wrong, the experts of the genre can do this, but when you're just doing an undercard match on Bloodsport, you go 5 minutes, you can actually stay within what Bloodsport is intended to be, rather than doing arm drags and whatever it may be.
Keep yourself from doing too much like wrestling and stuff like that. Like there was a couple moments like I think to do a gut wrench and stuff like that, but that is also like kind of Bloodsport. It fits the vibe that they're trying to portray. So yeah, I agree.
It did. And it didn't get overly kind of greedy with the strike exchanges. They were pretty restrained, and when they did them, they mattered and they looked good.
Sounded good. Dom hit him with like a slap to the side of the neck. It was just like, whew, he smoked him.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Greeny's kind of natural domain, right? I think, his natural skill set with his background, I think you get to see that here, and he was really good here. I agree with you. Dempsey is an odd case in that, the idea of these WWE appearances is that it's kind of a novelty to see them out of their comfort zone, out in a different environment. And with Dempsey, it feels like the alternative. It's like, oh, he's got his feet up, he's back at home. It's very strange. But I think all the WWE talent, fared pretty well. This was the highlight for me. It'll be interesting to see if this is going to continue this trend. I mean, we saw it WrestleMania weekend, here again SummerSlam weekend. Very WWE heavy, these lineups. We had, the War Raiders, Natalia, just
the Loki legend.
The Loki legend, indeed. Loki was not on the card, unfortunately, but the Loki legend was. So yeah, good stuff. Definitely worth a look. 5 minutes or so of Dominic Greeny and Charlie Dempsey beating the hell out of each other. Dempsey, I don't necessarily know what it looks like under the WWE umbrella, but I think we both agree, one to watch in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah, great young talent. Definitely someone to keep your eyes on as he evolves and grows as he ages.
Yeah, and you get emotional. You're so moved by it.
I know,
Wonderful
I
stuff.
started tearing up.
Over the weekend, Hiroshi Tanahashi's final G1 Climax campaign crossed its halfway mark, battling Yota Tsuji as well as a potential elimination. Tanahashi also found himself chasing 100 G1 wins, still leading from the front and closing shows as his retirement nears. The great man's form required an expert, and so I turned to Lyric, who recently interviewed the ace himself. Well, Lyric, we are now rolling into the G1 Climax, pretty deep in the process, right? A special time in the wrestling year. I know you've been locked in. I'm intrigued. How have you felt about this year's G1 thus far?
I honestly have been pretty impressed with it. Like I think the worst thing that you can do is try to compare it to like the past, right? But I think like if you come into it with a fresh mindset, and really just kind of like stay really open to anything that can happen. Like I've been really impressed by, I would say like the growth in like a lot of the people, especially like a lot of the younger guys, but also like the vets too, of just like, there's a lot of really cool stories, I think, to follow of folks. I think Tai Chi is like one of them, but even seeing people like Oiwa, it's his first tournament. It's Tanahashi's 23rd. So there's so many interesting storylines. So many people are different in different points of their career. And I think what's really cool about it is that because of like all the changeover that's been happening like over the last couple of years, it still feels wide open. Like I don't feel confident at all, like saying like, oh, this person 100% is going to win. This one person 100% needs to win. Like I think that there's still an argument for about, I would say like anywhere between 2 to 4 guys right now who could be believable G1 winners. And so I think that that's really fascinating because sometimes you don't get that out of tournaments. So I haven't been enjoying it. Obviously attendance is down, but what I think it's put an extra chip on everybody's shoulder to really put forth their best effort, which I've really appreciated.
Indeed. Tanahashi, you mentioned this, of course, his last G1. He's 23rd, you said, right? Which is outrageous. He was chasing his 100th win this past weekend in a match where he was fighting to survive, the tournament, right? He was going to be eliminated if he fell short, obviously, Yota Tsuji, who is one of the key names in this kind of transition period they're in, right? Certainly a guy they've circled to be up next. Pretty powerful match, I thought, Lyric. What did you make of that one?
Yeah, I think it was probably my favorite Tsuji performance of the tournament individually. I think it was just a really powerful match. Like I struggled to like rate these matches that Tanahashi is doing like in this G1, like, on a regular scale, because like, athletically, like, of course he doesn't have it, right? Like, but what he's doing, like it feels almost supernatural, these matches. He is willing himself to this performance. Like, it's all mental, it's all mind. He is pushing his body, his mind to do things that should not be possible. I mean, to this day, greatest babyface you'll ever find. Like, the way that he feeds off the crowd energy of, I walk away from these performances genuinely in awe of his performance. And even though he's working people whose bodies are in way better condition, what he's filling in on an experiential level is it's insane. But this match particularly, Tsuji brings a lot to the table as far as like, strength and athleticism. But I think that one thing that he hasn't quite cracked the code on is a connection, like with the audience specifically. And I think like that's something that Tanahashi makes up for in spades. And he had said in our interview heading into this tournament that out of all the matches, the Tsuji one was the one that he was looking forward to the most.
Wow.
And that Tsuji, used to carry his bags for him when he was a young lion. And so this one was really special. And I think like it was, that out of most of these young guys have been having matches with him on the retirement road. And like, some of them beat him honestly, but saving this one for last because I think, he was the last of all the guys, the young generation for Tana to really wrestle. I think that definitely meant something, particularly like the last two matches. I would say like Yuya and Tsuji, and they've all been main event matches, but it was just really powerful. Like the air guitar at the end, then like 100 G1s. Like, I don't think people understand like how crazy that is. Like 100 G1 victories. That's not even matches. No one will ever come close to that again, especially of like the concept of being loyal to one wrestling promotion for that long. Like, like for nearly over 2 decades, like well over 2 decades, like we won't even touch. And I'm not saying that like we should, right? Like, in a lot of ways, like the business is so much healthier by having so many different options and like, people to be able to make living wages, but you'll never see anything like this again. And it feels like history is happening right in front of our eyes, this entire run. And even too, like his body damn near crumpling, his knees are shaking, but it's just like his spirit is it looms so large. Like, I believe, like it's one of those things to where I think we get really jaded as wrestling fans, but there's nothing that I believe in stronger right now than this Tanahashi retirement run. It's it.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned kind of the industry being different in a way you probably won't get this again. The irony of that being, in many ways, those changes can be traced back to what Tanahashi did for New Japan in the late 2000s, right? And that leading to all the changes that we experience now. By the way, has it got normal yet just saying, my interview with Tanahashi? Has that become a normal thing, or is it still surreal when the words come out of your mouth?
No, it'll never be normal. And it's so funny. I've done a lot. Like, I don't like the like.
No, go for it.
I've done a lot, but that's been.
That's the crown jewel.
That was like nothing. I'm not sure anything will ever top it. Maybe, I don't know. That one was, and I think what's crazy about it is that like I didn't expect anybody to care, and then like people were like, "No, were you kidding me?"
Yeah.
It was really crazy. I didn't expect it to happen. It was really all on a whim. It's just really insane. Like I'll never get over it. It's the highlight of my life. I'm going to put it actually on my tombstone.
Wonderful, as you should. And to your point about the match, you know, you had the same experience I did in that you almost second guess yourself with Tanahashi matches where you go, like when it ended, I went, that was great. And then I went, what? Hang on, was it great or am I just deeply in love with this man? I can't figure it out.
And you know
and I don't think it matters.
I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care. I don't care. But no, I genuinely still. The match is whole. Like the match is whole. I don't think like it's just. And I'd like we've seen guys on glory runs and people are just making excuses, right? Like this isn't that. We've all done that for faves and stuff in the past. We've all done that. This isn't that. Like everybody is well aware of this physical condition. Like nobody's trying to ignore it. Nobody's trying to pretend like it's not happening. Nobody's trying to pretend like it's like it doesn't exist. But he's just so extraordinary. Like just such a masterful storyteller and just a hero. I mean, an ace figure. I know we throw that word around a lot in wrestling, but there are very few genuine, honest to God aces for a promotion. And he's still the crown jewel of everything that word exemplifies, as it relates to professional wrestling. And it's just insane. And he takes on all these main events. He will do the craziest things in the ring, knowing he should not be doing them. 2, 3, 4 high five flows. He will proceed to do an air guitar concert. And then it doesn't matter if the arena is packed. It doesn't matter if the arena is half empty. He will walk around and greet every single fan, wipe his face on their towels, throw them back, take the selfies, hug the babies, and I know it's so many things now of so many people, once you get to a certain level, they think they're above that, right? Like they don't have to do that. And they don't,
Yeah.
Fans are weird sometimes. I will say, even too watching it, like people are literally grabbing him. They want his hair. They're literally, but he's doing it with a smile. And he's breaking down crying. And I'm breaking down crying. And it's fucking 6 a.m. And we do this twice a week for the last 3 weeks. And it's awesome. I can't explain it. And I'm boo-hooing just thinking about what are we supposed to do without him?
That's it. That is really the question he's going to leave. What are we supposed to do about this guy? It's overstated, honestly. Sometimes we say, there'll never be another. We say that about a lot of guys, right? Hiroshi Tanahashi, there will never be another.
Never.
We're not that lucky.
No. And maybe we shouldn't. Like, I think of like the state that current AEW is in right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I think part of why they've been able to do so well this year is I think there's been a shift in the thinking that no one person will be responsible for righting the ship. This will be a team effort across at least, 3 guys, and you have to talk people. There's no such thing as one person who can carry the weight of an entire promotion. And it shows you in that way that Tanahashi really is kind of like a relic of the past. No one will probably ever be able to say that they single-handedly pulled a promotion up with their cold bare hands and held it there till well into their 40s.
Yeah.
They took over in an administrative capacity while still being in a mentoring capacity, a recruiting capacity, as well as still being a wrestler.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No, it probably shouldn't
happen, right?
Exactly.
You see you see the toll, right? You see the toll that it took on the bodies. of the Tanahashis and the Naitos, and even I look over at Noah and I see like the state of my beloved Ghost Shiozaki and Marufuji and all of these guys who at one point or another were really carrying things on their own. It's not sustainable and it's not healthy, right? And so maybe that's one of the ways. I think that's the proof. Like none of these guys are the guy. I don't think there's ever going to be the singular guy. Or a gal, so wherever again, and maybe it shouldn't be. But Tanahashi if there was ever somebody who embodied that and did it well to the best of their ability, it's him, and he's still doing it, and he's freaking insane.
And an unbelievably just dignified presence in the
100%.
game. Absolutely. Wonderfully said, Lyric. I'll have to circle back. I'm not nearly as tapped into the G1. I believe this was my first match of the tournament. I believe this was your 56th or something, so I have to circle back.
I will say, as great as this match is, Tanahashi has better matches in this tournament. Like
I hear the Finley match was terrific. That's the one I heard about.
The Finley one is terrific, but honestly, I think as far as like new gen, the one with Yuya is awesome.
Oh, I bet.
I also really enjoyed the one with Oiwa. Honestly, there's really no bad ones. Like the one with Callum
Tanahashi, right?
It's really good. It's just really short. So, like, of course, like it's much shorter than others. But like even the one with Callum Newman, what a guy! Having a fantastic tournament. He's another person who's shown extreme growth. But yeah, Tanahashi's had some great performances. The one opening night versus Taichi was excellent.
Yeah.
Like. He had Taichi on opening night. Taichi's been excellent in this tournament. So yeah, like the vets have really stepped up, I think, and also not having Ishii and Goto and Naito, like you can definitely tell the vets have stepped up in a lot of ways.
Wonderful stuff. I'll have to circle back here as the tournament unfolds as we near towards the finals. Thank you so much, Luke. This was a tremendous time. Thank you.
Chris.
Thanks for watching, folks. Please like the video and subscribe for more grins. To join us live almost daily, head to Late Night Grin, hitting the join button for exclusive watch-alongs, wrestling history lessons, and live Q&As. Keep grinning, folks. All hail.